All right, so this is a video on how to multiply and divide radicals. This video is fairly simple, right? So whenever you multiply and divide radicals, it's the inside times the inside, and you just keep the radical sign. So root 4 times root 3, all you have to do is just keep the radical sign, right? And then just do 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12, and that's it. That's the final answer, and that's how you multiply. So root 5 times root 6, you simply get root 30. That's it. Now, what happens if there's a coefficient out in the front? Well, you have to actually multiply the outside number, or the coefficient times the coefficient, and the inside number times the inside number, and that's it. So in this case right here, 2 times 3, because they're on the outside, is going to give me 6. And then you drop the radical symbol. Root 3 times root 5 is root 15, and that's the final answer, okay? Now, how do you divide radicals? It's literally the same thing, right? So you just do the inside number divided by the inside number, and that's it. So root 12 divided by root 2 is going to give you simply root 6, and that's it. Root 25 divided by root 5 is going to give you root 5, okay? Now, again, outside number, inside number, outside number, inside number. So the coefficient is on the outside. 6 divided by 2 is simply going to give me 3, and root 12 divided by 3 is going to give you root 4. And that's it. Obviously, you can simplify square root of 4 when you can, so it's going to be 3 times 2, which gets you 6. And that's the answer. Now, why is it important to know how to multiply radicals? Well, because on the regions, they're going to ask you potentially to rationalize a denominator, okay? Right now, square root of 2, right, is in the denominator, and it's considered irrational, right? Because if you put that into the calculator, it's going to give you a decimal. So when they say rationalize the denominator, they basically want they want to get rid of this square root of 2. The only way we can ever get rid of the square root of 2 is by multiplying it by itself, okay? So let's take a look at what we're going to do. I'm going to multiply the denominator by whatever the square root is, and in this case, it's going to be square root of 2. Now, what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So in this case right here, I'm going to multiply it as well with the root square root of 2. Why is that the case? Because of root 2 divided by root 2 is equal to 1, right? So you can take any number, multiply by 1, and get the same number. So that's why we're allowed to do this. So let's take a look at the math very quickly, okay? 3 times 1, which is a silent 1, is going to get you 3. And root 5 times root 2 gets you root 10. Great. On the bottom, you get root 2 times root 2, which is actually root 4, right? And let's just simplify this all out. You get 3 root 10 over square root of 4, which becomes 2, and that's it. Now, guess what happened to the denominator? It used to be a square root of 2. Now it's actually a whole number of 2. So it has been rationalized. Let's do it two more times, okay? In this case, I see the square root of 3 here. It's irrational. I need to rationalize the denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by square root of 3. Easy peasy, right? So let's go ahead and do this. 6 times 1 is 6, and root 8 times root 3 is going to be root 24. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9. And for the sake of, speed and clarity, I'm just going to simplify the denominator. Root 9 is going to be 3, and I'll keep the numerator 6 root 24. Of course, you can always simplify root 24 because it's too big of a number. It can be simplified even further, okay? But the point of this is that you are actually getting the denominator to not be a square root anymore. All right, what happens over here? Same thing, right? But instead of selecting 2 root 8, you always want to select whatever the denominator is. And in this case, it's just root 8. Okay, so root 8 over root 8. So I'm just going to do the multiplication process again. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 1 is 2. And root 8 times root 8 is going to be root 16. Now let me show you the full simplification process for this case. I can simplify square root of 40 by taking out the perfect square of 4 and leaving 10, right? Over, and then 2, or square root of 16 is already 4, so I'll put in parentheses. And then I'll simplify this. 4 times the square root of 4, which is actually going to be 2, right? 4 times 2 is going to give me 8 root 10, over 2 times 4, which is going to give you 8. And if I really wanted to simplify this, 8 divided by 8 gets me 1, so therefore the final answer is actually root 10.